All right, last segment of the normal rifle hunts. We're going to go into Unit 27. After this video, I want to talk about some of the limited opportunity hunts, some of the youth hunts, some of those units that don't give out a lot of tags. But I want to focus today, right now, Unit 27. It is one of the, again, more popular units. I would say Unit 1, Unit 27, which are their neighbors, and Unit 23 and Unit 9 and Unit 10. All those units are like the core of giant bull country in Arizona, and you will see the draw odds reflect that. Obviously in Unit 27, it's kind of divided. Again, when we talk about terrain, you'll see this on the maps as I kind of go over it a little bit later. But Unit 27 is kind of divided into, it's not officially subdivided like in subunits, and it's only one unit. But you have the Mogollon Rim, which I've referenced almost in every video when we're talking about elk country. The Mogollon Rim runs east-west along Arizona. And below the Mogollon Rim in 27, the elk densities really thin out. So it becomes a really limited opportunity thing. Really kind of, it's hard to find some of these elk. Some of the biggest bulls have been killed down in there. Like that, if any of you are familiar with the Jimmy John bull, the guy who owns Jimmy John's and that governor's tag, that bull was killed just below the Mogollon Rim in Unit 27, down in some of that juniper stuff. Really low densities, really took a lot of scouting and a year-round scouting to find and really keep an eye on that bull for those guys that killed that. And that's not realistic for somebody that just draws a tag and wants to go out there and hunt for 2 weeks a year. So my emphasis would stay north of 27, stay in that northern half, north above the Mogollon Rim. And archery hunting just kind of depends on where the cows are. So the early archery hunt is an awesome hunt. You will hear bugling bulls in 27. I don't care what the weather's doing. I don't care what the moon is doing. You will see rutting bulls going nuts. And that is not always the case in a lot of other units in Arizona during the early archery hunt. But you will in Unit 1 too. You will hear these bulls going crazy. And that's one of the really cool things about 27. I've literally been camping, hunting and guiding and all that kind of stuff. And I've had to put earplugs in because I was so tired of hearing, I could not sleep because the bulls were bugling so loud all the time. I got so tired of it, which is a great thing when you're archery hunting because these bulls are telling you exactly where they're at, where they're moving, and who they're chasing around. So expect to put on some miles in the early archery elk hunt. Expect to see some people. I mean, there's usually 200 tags in that range. Add in another 75 cow elk hunters in there. So you've got 300 people with their archery tags roughly. And then you've got another couple hundred people helping those guys out, whether they're friends, family, guides, outfitters. So expect to see some people in 27. It's not one of those units that's really, really limited in tags. It's a fair amount of tags given the country, given the circumstances, and where the elk live. So early archery elk hunting is awesome. It does take a fair amount of points to draw. I mean, you got to be in that close to 20-point range. Not quite 20, but as a resident or non-resident, it's very similar in a lot of these trophy units. It takes about the same amount of points to draw. You got to be in that 15 to 20 range to expect to draw a tag. So early archery elk hunting, expect to chase around bulls, expect to hear bugles, expect to be in some really nasty country if you do decide to chase a bull, chase an elk that's bugling. I've talked about this in Unit 23 and Unit 1. There's obviously a boundary that exists in 27 as well, which is the White Mountain and San Carlos Apache Reservation. Important to keep an eye on that. I will say that in some of that lower country, down off that Mogollon Rim, I will say that is an area that's been focused on, is that line. Okay, so when guys are successful, they are focusing down there. They're not focusing on the New Mexico line. New Mexico is that eastern border of Unit 27, which is good and bad. I mean, you can actually access some stuff in 27 by going through New Mexico that you can't in Arizona. There's actually some roads that you take through New Mexico that get into 27. Just depends on how intense you want to get about it. It depends on what you're willing to do. But just like 23, seriously, guys, have a safety plan, have a backup plan, have communication. Cell phone reception is garbage in 27, and it is extremely rugged and extremely rough, and the weather can be extremely inclement. You can get like 4 feet of snow on one of those late rifle elk hunts. I've been there. It can really create some safety issues, can create some problems as far as transportation goes. So really make sure that you've got a communication device that is satellite connected via inReach, or I think it's called Zoleo or something. I've never used it, but something that you can communicate, outside if you're in trouble, and also just stay in communication with somebody, whether it's your wife or buddy or whatever. You can stay in communication for a safety standpoint. Have a plan. Make sure people know kind of where you're going to be when you go elk hunting or deer hunting in 27, whatever it is. But it is one of those units where you can find yourself lost in a bad situation, in a flat tire, in a busted up knee very quickly, and things can escalate just because you're sitting at 8,000 feet and weather changes and it can get really, really cold. I don't care what time of year it is. So again, safety disclaimer, guys, safety first. No elk or deer or whatever is worth you risking your life and just putting that in jeopardy without safety precautions beforehand. Another reason why guiding is really important, I feel like, guiding an outfit is providing like that safety net for guys that want to go hunting. I know a lot of guys' wives, they're like, I don't want him to go by himself. They won't let their husbands go by themselves. And it's just a good idea to have people with you, whether they are guides or outfitters or friends or family, that can provide kind of a safety net and just kind of multiple redundancies in safety equipment, tires and jacks and ropes and tents and food and all of that stuff. It's really important, to have a little bit of redundancy in all that. So having guys with you, guides or outfitters or friends and family, is really important when you're elk hunting, just from that standpoint. Now, Unit 27, early archery hunting can be extremely rugged. They do offer a late archery hunt with just a few tags, like 35 tags. That's a cool opportunity for guys that are willing to put in the work to try to kill a big bull. Doesn't require a ton of points, but you still got to burn close to 10 points. So I'd be wary if you haven't spent a ton of time in there, or you're not willing to pay for or don't have the budget for a guide or outfitter. I'd be wary of trying to draw that late archery tag in 27 unless you've got some other situations and prior knowledge or guide or outfitter to help you. That late rifle 27 hunt really has become one of the more popular late rifle hunts because of the amount of tags. They give about 400 tags every year, which makes it feasible for guys to draw. It still takes 15 points plus to draw. It takes about 10 to 11 to draw as a resident, about 15 to 17 points as a non-resident. It's become really popular just because of the bull quality, the bull numbers that are in Unit 27, and the ability basically look to shoot a 350 plus bull on a late rifle elk hunt is a reality. And that's not necessarily the case for the rest of the late rifle elk hunts in Arizona. There's an opportunity, there's chances, but in 27 and 23, the reality, the expectation is that you have a potential to shoot something that's very, very special on a late rifle elk hunt. That's not a bull rutting, coming over across the line from the Apache reservation, the San Carlos reservation. That's not that. That's just like these bulls gather, they come in there and they winter in these canyons in 27 and live there year round, and are still living there in that late rifle elk hunt. So they're not migratory type bulls. These are bulls that just live in nasty country year round, and they grow really old because they're in nasty country year round. So a lot of guys want to go in there, but be ready to put your hiking boots on and get after it. Its elevation's 8,000 plus feet. You could be dropping thousands of feet in some of these canyons just to hunt some of these bulls. A lot of guys look on maps and they go, oh man, look at those trails that are a little bit further down south, a little bit away from alpine, horse trails. There are a lot of outfitters that use horses and take people back in there. So if you think you're going to go hike and try to compete with a horse outfit, I was driving out of there this year in late rifle elk season, and I was just traveling through, and I just saw it was like horse camper. Every like little pull off, guys are going deep in there this year. So it was pretty interesting to see that. Obviously, there's a lot of people up top running around, driving around hunting, road hunting. Again, there's a lot of competition as far as there's a lot of hunters in some of these roads because there's a lot of bulls and you can shoot at them from these roads. So expect to see people. It's a hunt where it's pretty popular to kind of bring family and friends with because Alpine is just a really nice place to be. There's good opportunities to for Airbnbs for people to stay at, and people have their summer cabins up there, and it's just a nice, very beautiful, picturesque place in Arizona that a lot of people don't think exists. It looks like Montana, high country Montana, but elk are everywhere in Unit 27. On that northern half specifically, but if you, on a late rifle hunt, for example, it really does get nasty kind of right out of Alpine, and those bulls are everywhere along in those canyons, all the way down to the Mogollon Rim, and then south it gets a little dispersed. But that's kind of your focus. If you're DIYing it, try to get a friend, try to get somebody to come with you on that hunt and get in there and help you, because if you kill one of these bulls in those canyons, it's going to be a chore to pack it out. It's going to be a multi-day type situation. The beauty of a late rifle hunt is typically the weather will cooperate with you. You can hang that meat for a long time and not worry about it spoiling, but really have some friends or family. And also obviously the option is to have a guide or outfitter help you in there as well, just to be part of that pack out experience, be part of that harvesting, getting out there safely. If you're an older guy or woman, it's important too to understand what it physically takes to be successful in there. Had a number of clients that are older draw those tags, and they have been successful, but they definitely realized they were thankful for the guys that were packing out that bull elk for them, and they didn't have to do that. So, but that being said, if you draw that tag, it has taken a bunch of points or you got really lucky. Invest into it in any form or fashion that you can afford. Invest into your opportunity. Invest in the success of your hunt. Don't let that tag be squandered, whether it is inviting friends, family, or doing the personal work yourself as a DIY solo hunter or just a DIY hunter with friends. Really put in the time and effort to get in there, go scouting, and if you have it in your budget, go hire an outfitter, hire a guide that will help you, get you in there, get you in the right places, and hopefully help you be successful on a really, really big bull, a bull of a lifetime that has that potential in Unit 27. So I wish everybody that applies for that the best of luck. Please do your homework, do your research, be safe, and hopefully we'll see you out there this season, guys. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.